What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Spitfire Podcast. I am your host, Lauren Lemunion, the Spitfire Coach, coming to you with some pockets of inspiration, some tools, things that will make your life easier, help your business succeed even more. And today we are talking about just that, how to allow your business to succeed. We are in the midst of a pandemic. That's no surprise. We're in month 6. I don't know when you're listening to this. We might even be in month 7, or maybe we can have some wishful thinking and it'll all be resolved. But I wanted to talk to you today about one of my clients who has been experiencing an amazing amount of success. And I'm going to share that little special sauce that is what made it all possible. So for some context, I have been working with this client for about 4 years. We meet on a weekly basis by phone. They have their own business, and they also support their partner's business that is very labor intensive and very client facing, very, very administratively centered. And they're also a mother, and they're caring for their aging parents. So a lot of her situation, a lot of her constraints are very similar to a lot of other people. Obviously, everyone is in their own situation, but I wanted to just lay out her profile to give you more context around some of the excuses that she used to give to me and the excuses that you've probably said to yourself. We all have them. We all have excuses on why we think we can't be successful or what we need to wait for to be resolved. And the biggest thing here is to stop waiting. Whatever you think you are waiting for, whatever you think you need to happen in order to make things happen for you, in order to be successful, it needs to stop now. There needs to be a recognition of what you want is important and why it's important to you. If you want to make more money in your business, you have to make that a priority. It needs to come before putting everyone else's needs before your own. It needs to come before the time wasted scrolling through Instagram and Facebook. It needs to come before the hours in front of the TV or all of the other things that are just general time sucks. It needs to be at the top of your list. Because if you don't, you can't expect it to make you a priority. If you don't make your business a priority, you can't expect your business to make you a priority or your goals in that business. And so in working with my client, at the beginning, it was all about her reclaiming her identity. She was really into the identity of mom. I have to support my daughter. She's going off to school. I'm here to support her. I'm here to support my husband. And she really reclaimed herself in that moment of, I matter. It became her year. And we worked on that. We worked on her just resettling back into who she was meant to be. And then after that, we started working on her business processes. What did she want it to become? How did she want to work with clients? How much time did she have to invest in it? And now as we're in year 3 and 4, she has been bringing other people in. She has a team of freelancers that work with her. She's building business processes. She's bringing in technology solutions to support it. And she's thinking of herself differently as the boss, as the creator of opportunities. And she's educating not just the people that are working with her, but the people that are paying her to do services. And so as the pandemic hit, we already had this foundation, this toolkit of here's how my business works, here's how I want to be perceived, here is my image, here is my presence, here's my confidence, here's my expertise. And so she really just opened up and started to blossom when the pandemic hit. Fear could have set in and said, you know what, my design business isn't going to make it. There's no way that companies are going to pay for design. But the opposite happened. Because she had built a trusted reputation, because people looked to her to give them the most cost-effective and impactful design, they came flooding in. And so last month, I challenged her to something new, because I'm always challenging her, and it's like this love-hate thing. Like, I hate when you do it, but I love when it comes true. So every week we set an intention of what is this week going to be about? What are we focusing on? And I wanted to kick it up a notch and say, what is the next 90 days about for you? What is that number? And I gave her multiple sheets of worksheets to work through. And I asked her to pick a number at the end of this 90-day sprint or 90-day jog or whatever it is, whatever the pace was. After 90 days, how much money do you want to bring in? And I challenged her and I said, what's that number? And she's like, I got the number. And she said it was $30,000. And I said, how doable does that feel? And she's like, pretty doable. I think I can do it. And I said, all right, what's a number that scares you? And she said $50,000. I said, then that's our number. I want you to be a little scared. I want this to shake you up. I want whatever comfortable feelings of how you always did business to go out the door, because it's time to shift. It's time to grow out of the old and into the new way of operating. And so that's exactly what she did. She put $50,000 down on her worksheet. And then from that, we built a plan on what do the proposals look like? What do the projects look like? What do the clients look like? How do I come across when I'm presenting these ideas? How do people interact with me? And everything started to shift from there. Within like the week, maybe even the next day, she had opportunities, RFPs in her inbox. People she hadn't heard from in years came flooding back in, not with just small projects, but with the projects she wanted to sink her teeth into. And I'm recording this episode because about an hour ago, she texted me that she got a contract that was the largest contract she had ever put forth. And that allowed her to quote and to be in the process of collecting the same amount of money that she made last year. Could you imagine that? Could you imagine in 1 month having enough on the books that exceeded what you did last year? And I know that this may sound like, make 6 figures in a month. This is not one of those gimmicks. This is doing the work. This is cleaning up your limiting beliefs, cleaning up your excuses, and putting a number on paper and honoring your word, honoring your priority. She made her business her priority. She created boundaries that allowed her to focus on her time. She invested in herself and got an office at a co-working space so that she could have division between home and work life. She has full on invested in herself with coaching and now having freelancers working for her. Everything that she is putting into motion is creating this outcome. So if you think that you're waiting for that perfect client to come around that's going to make it all happen, they're not going to show up until you show up. You have to show up differently with a different mindset. You have to believe that this is possible. And you have to create all of the processes and things that support who you are. If you don't believe you're successful, if you don't think you're confident, how can you expect anyone else to? Now, this client is a true Spitfire. She owns it. I call her the queen of abundance and intention because as soon as she puts it out there, it comes flying in. And she is not alone in this, but she is completely aligned with her intuition and her purpose and her mission and her values. This is what it means to be a Spitfire. So I know that this is possible, not just for her. It happened for me too last year when I fully aligned in with the number and it scared the crap out of me and made me throw up a little bit, but it is possible. But it takes work, it takes consistency, and it takes an awareness and an acceptance that it's okay to be uncomfortable, to not quite know, but be willing to ask for help and support and to step into those tiny little branches. So I hope this was inspirational for you. If you want to do a strategy session, feel free to reach out, Lauren@SpitfireCoach.com, or you can go to SpitfireCoach.com and fill out a complimentary consultation application to see if coaching is right for you. It might not be for you. You can, keep listening to these podcasts and get some inspiration, but coaching has really worked for me. It's totally working for my clients. And I know that it can work for people who are willing to put the work in and who are open to shifting what they've always done. So I hope this was helpful, and you guys keep being awesome.